Game that sounds like Shadow of the Colossus, meeting Hell Divers. Backed by Amazon's billions, it should have been the proof that Amazon could finally build a gaming empire, not another corporate caution sign. Inside that pitch, players understood the fantasy before the first trailer even ended, because the idea sold itself instantly. Project Trident was supposed to be a Viking action comedy, where you hunted giants on a huge scale, with hard momentum and spectacle. Instead, it reportedly became a warning about what happens when leadership chases buzzwords before gameplay. And developers were not just fighting giants, they were fighting a machine that cost jobs. Kotaku reported, based on Eurogamer interviews, that Amazon Games had Project Trident inside its San Diego studio. Early versions reportedly had a clear hook, third-person action, giant Jotuns, flying mounts grappling, climbing enemies, and attacking weak points. Sources compared the original idea to Shadow of the Colossus, which tells you the fantasy immediately. Crucially, Trident was not some broken mess nobody could explain. Players understand giant hunting in one sentence. Higher-ups apparently needed something shinier. According to the report, Amazon pushed a company-wide generative AI mandate around mid-2024. Developers reportedly felt they had to change Trident into an AI project, or risk shutdown. Management can dress that up with innovation language, but the message sounds clear. Build the robot future, or start worrying about your job. Suddenly the team was not only proving the game was fun. From then on it had to prove the company's latest obsession belonged inside the game. Away from giants, mounts, and climbing combat, Trident allegedly shifted into short, intense missions played repeatedly similar to Hell Divers. AI-driven NPCs would generate missions, react through dialogue, help during combat, and push the experience forward. On paper, that sounds impressive if your only job is clapping during strategy meetings. Under development, that means rules testing, writing control, safety limits, performance problems, mission logic, surprise costs, broken tests, tool limits, nervous producers, confused writers, and one basic question. Basically, they turned a game about swinging giant swords into a massive, boring homework assignment. Question 1 is simple: is this actually fun? Reporting says the team was given roughly 18 months to make the AI-heavy version work, which is brutal for a rebuilt project. Anyone who follows games knows that is not a plan. Usually, that is a panic attack with a calendar invite. Afterward, the project changed again and moved toward a single-player direction. Eventually the team scrambled to build a demo to prove the game still worked, but by then, the clock was already at 0. Before that demo could save anything, Amazon's October 2025 layoffs hit and Project Trident was cancelled. Clearly, Trident was not an isolated failure. Rather, it was one gear in a much larger machine that Amazon was starting to dismantle. Company-wide, Amazon announced around 14,000 corporate cuts, and gaming was pulled into that restructuring. Bloomberg reported that Amazon was halting a significant amount of first-party AAA development, especially around MMOs. New World Eternum, one of Amazon's most visible gaming projects, was put on a shutdown path for January 2027. Reports raised questions around Amazon's Lord of the Rings MMO2, while Amazon said it was still exploring another Tolkien game experience. So the timeline is clean. First came a promising internal action game. Next came the alleged AI mandate. Then came the pivot into AI NPC systems and repeatable mission design. Later came schedule pressure, another design shift, and a demo push. Finally came layoffs, cancellation, and developers who reportedly learned hard lessons about AI development being sent out the door. Chronology is the whole weapon here because it removes the hiding place. Without the timeline, this becomes another lazy rant about AI ruining everything. With the timeline, it becomes sharper. A project had an identity, leadership shoved a trend into it, and the team paid. Specifics matter because this story has names, dates, design changes, reported pressure, and a corporate collapse around it. Evidence-first framing matters because the audience clicked for breakdown, not smoke. Clear stakes are simple. Amazon wanted AI in the product, the team reportedly rebuilt around it, and the result did not survive. People chased the robot gold rush, then got shoved off when the wheels came loose. Critically, by the end, people who learned to build this future were shown the door. Another detail matters: this was not some tiny side mod made by interns at lunch. San Diego was an internal Amazon Games studio trying to prove Amazon could make its own hits. That pressure changes everything because every pivot becomes more than design trouble. Each change becomes a career risk. Every meeting becomes a quiet vote on whether the team still deserves to exist. If leadership keeps changing the target, nobody should act shocked when arrows miss. Video viewers need that because outrage without mechanics turns into background noise. The machine worked like this: take a readable game, force it toward a corporate trend, compress the schedule, change direction again, then call the wreckage restructuring. No dragon metaphor needed. Result: players lost the giant hunting comedy, workers lost stability, and Amazon proved buzzword strategy is not game direction. Official response also matters because companies rarely say one controversial decision caused everything. Even so, the reported sequence looks terrible. Those developers allegedly changed the project because AI was the survival ticket. Employees then chased that version through pivots and deadlines. After the strategy failed, many people closest to the work lost jobs. Point is why the story lands. Gamers are not mad because a studio experimented with technology. However, this one hits differently because the reported pressure came from leadership, not gameplay. Apparently the question stopped being, what makes Trident good? Soon the question became, how do we make Trident satisfy the mandate? Questions like that destroy focus. Teams can solve ugly design problems when everyone knows the mission. Designers can cut scope, engineers can stabilize systems, writers can fix structure, and producers can manage scope. Chaos begins when the mission becomes nothing but words. Wait, do not get it twisted. This is not a lecture on how AI works. Actually, this is about a studio reportedly told to retrofit a trend, then punished when it did not become magic fast enough. Most viewers understand that instantly. Nobody opens a store page and asks whether the boss fight was built to satisfy executive positioning around generative automation. Customers want a strong loop, clear promise, good combat pacing, and a reason to care, provided the AI helps that fine. Otherwise, if AI replaces the game's spine, players smell it. Trident's original pitch sounded easy to sell. Hunt giant enemies, fly through danger, grapple onto massive bodies, find the weak point, survive the fight. Essentially, that is a trailer. Compare that with the new pitch. Talk to AI NPCs while missions generate around you and the system reacts dynamically. Probably it needs years, discipline, stable leadership, boundaries, and a team protected from panic. Definitely it does not sound like something slapped onto a half-rebuilt project because the company wants to look modern. Have you ever had a boss come in with a game-changing idea that made your job twice as hard for no reason? Veterans warn that reality is harder. Leadership wants speed. Deadlines shrink. Quality slips. Workers burn out. Once the promise fails, the people closest to the problem get blamed, cut, or quietly erased. Consequently, this story feels human, not just technical. Corporate AI talk starts with wonder and ends with headcount math. Executives say new experiences. Staff hear fewer jobs. Investors hear efficiency. Audiences hear this might feel cheaper. Suspicion grows because the reported ending gives everyone the worst possible signal. Reportedly, developers learned what worked and what failed with AI. Then many people holding those lessons were cut. Defenders can argue layoffs were part of larger restructuring, not simple punishment for one project. Fair, and the video should say that because accuracy matters. Still, worker perception matters too. During a moment when a team believes AI is the condition for survival, then survival disappears, the lesson is brutal. Perform the trend or vanish. Innovation, efficiency, restructuring. Pick your favorite corporate slogan, because the result is the same. Perhaps vanish anyway. Message received. Gaming makes the pattern louder because players feel the result. Viewers feel it when a feature exists for a press release instead of gameplay. Followers feel it when a project has no identity because it got dragged through 5 strategy decks. Casual players feel it when a company says it is focusing resources, which usually means workers just got escorted out by polite emails. But to see why this matters to you, the player, we have to look at the other projects Amazon has buried. Historically, Amazon's gaming record makes the story uglier. Crucible launched, retreated back into beta and died. Eternum arrived with real attention, then struggled to stay central. Lost Ark succeeded for Amazon as publishing, but publishing another studio's hit is not the same as proving your own AAA machine works. Now Project Trident joins the graveyard, and the AI angle makes the tombstone brighter. Whenever publishers chase internal tech narratives, players become unpaid witnesses. Buyers get fewer stable projects, more pivots, more shutdowns, and promises that sound important until the server closes. Future AAA marketing will dress this up beautifully. Publishers will promise AI-powered worlds, living NPCs, endless stories, adaptive quests, and experiences that respond to every player. Maybe some of that becomes real. If even Amazon cannot protect a clear shadow of the Colossus-style fantasy from becoming a mandate-shaped math project, players should be skeptical. Because the next 5 years could bring incredible tools, or more games designed around investor language first and player fun second. Innovation should not mean studios stay frozen in the past. Nevertheless, tools are supposed to serve the game. Games are not supposed to serve the tool. Meaning, that line is the whole argument. Assuming Trident's best version was the giant hunting action game, Amazon should have protected that focus. Conversely, if the AI version was truly better, Amazon needed time, scope, talent retention, and a real player reason for it to exist. publicly. The story now looks like a studio chasing a mandate until the mandate became another dead project. It is a familiar story. Executives love taking big risks when it is the workers' jobs on the line. Ultimately, Amazon reportedly demanded the AI future. Trident could not survive the demand, and the developers were left holding the receipt. Comment below, is AI in gaming a tool you actually want, or is it the new NFT, another word developers get forced to build around?